Call to order the Thursday, April 10th Board of Supervisors budget work session. First up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As you see, I'm sharing today. Mr. Palin is out due to a medical emergency. If we could have Bill, would you say a little prayer for him and his family?
Yep, absolutely. Is it him that's having it?
No, it's his wife.
His wife, okay. Heavenly Father, be with us in this meeting. Guide us and direct us, be our hearts and our minds as we make decisions. But most of all, Lord, be with Mr. Palin and Mrs. Palin and comfort them and heal her so that she's back on her feet really, really soon. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next up, we have our approval and revision of the agenda. We're going to add consideration item number 2, which is approval of 3 change orders for the expansion of the Kemarta Convenience Center refuse site. So I'm going to move that we approve the advised agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is carried. Okay, first up will be the FY26 budget work session and vacant or blighted property tax discussion. John Guzak.
First time I've done it. Is it okay to be here?
Yeah, please just state your name and then if you're a resident of the county, what district or what your address is.
Thank you. My name is John Guzak. I live in Kilmarnock. I'm a resident of Lancaster County. Good evening, everyone. I'm here this evening to ask the board to take action to enact a vacancy tax and blighted building tax ordinance to address commercial and residential properties throughout the county. This measure is needed to counter the number of long-term vacancies that are stifling tax revenues from a commercial sense, limiting affordable housing, and eroding the community at large. Simply said, this ordinance will serve as a tool to combat vacancies and blight, which in turn will promote community aesthetics, financial vitality, and growth. This tax initiative will motivate commercial property owners to use, maintain, rent, or sell vacant properties, all of which are in the best interest of all citizens of this county. A municipality has nothing to gain by ignoring commercial vacancies. In fact, it may lose property tax based upon lower assessment values over time. Furthermore, without a viable business operating in a building, sales tax revenue is most assuredly lost, as well as opportunities lost in terms of employment. Empty storefronts or office spaces mean fewer jobs and less money circulating in the local economy. It negatively impacts nearby businesses, robs citizens of products and service availability, and detrimentally impacts the character of a town. Municipalities must spend precious revenues on code enforcement to prevent vandalism, safety hazards, and deterioration of vacant properties. In plain English, long-term commercial building vacancies serve absolutely no one. The same goes for long-term residential properties. Although a vacant house or apartment may not directly affect sales tax revenue, it indirectly does so because there's no one living in the vacant house purchasing goods and services in the community. Many times, no one maintains vacant property, such as the case of a single-family house on my street, which has been vacant for 2 years. In that particular case, the grass hasn't been cut since the tenants left 2 years ago. On that same property back in July of 2023, I asked the town to have the owner remove a 70-foot tall dead tree because its very large branches were literally falling on the street, impeding traffic and could possibly hurt someone. A year later, a year passes, and out of sheer frustration, I called Dominion Power and I was able to have the tree literally removed from the property. The property is still vacant today. This is not the only long-term vacant residential property in the area. There are many, many others. In fact, there are several others right here in the Lancaster Courthouse Historic District. But the crown jewel of vacant commercial properties in this county is located at the corner of Main Street and Irvington Road in Kilmarnock's historic Steptoe district. I'd be surprised if you didn't know that it's been vacant for the better part of 44 years, ever since the Cockrell supermarket closed back in the 80s, with one short rental stint a few years ago, as I was told. That building is unoccupied and not maintained. Although it's deteriorating aesthetically, it's not quote-unquote unsafe, according to the Lancaster building officials with whom I talked. So nothing can be done from that standpoint. When I asked the town for its historical information relative to its many attempts to remedy this, the town manager said she'd work up an estimate for me to pay for a FOIA request at $40 to $60 an hour. The building is blighted. Its Main Street facade is totally rusty. There are bullet holes in the glass doors on the back of the building. Its large glass frontage windows contain a for rent sign, but several people who were interested in renting that building personally told me the owner will take no action to actually rent it. In fact, one local businesswoman who tried ended up moving her business to Warsaw because of the owner's unwillingness to negotiate. This stands as an example of even more sales tax lost revenue for the county and the town because of this vacant building. Nonetheless, this vacancy example serves as Kilmarnock's keystone of blight. It, as well as many other vacant commercial properties within Steptoe, produce no revenue for the town or county by the mere absence of viable commercial tenants. But equally detrimental, if not more so, is the impact these vacancies have on the town character. They drive away truly viable businesses, they negatively impact surrounding property values, and they certainly don't promote tourism. After 40-plus years and the town's inability to get the owner to rent, sell, or even maintain the building in a customary fashion, I believe it's now time to enact tax legislation to remedy this issue once and for all. I encourage you to introduce legislation to put an end to long-term commercial and residential vacancies and blight through the development of a vacancy and blight tax measure. I researched this matter. A number of cities across the United States have successfully enacted a vacancy legislation of this type. Generally speaking, a vacancy tax begins at 3% of the assessed value as a motivation factor. In the event you agree with this in principle, I would be willing to work with or even lead a assigned committee to craft the program's details. I'll leave you with this fun fact. If the owner of that vacant grocery store had rented that facility for the past 44 years at reasonable rates, he would have collected well over $4 million at fair market rental. To me, it's highly illogical, possibly intentionally spiteful, and in my opinion, just plain dumb, to have paid an annual property tax on a $544,000 assessment instead of collecting millions of dollars over the same period of time. If the owner of this single property, just one vacant property, and there are many, if the owner of this single property must begin to pay a 3% penalty tax, the town will collect an additional $16,320 every year until it's rented. And again, this is just one of many vacant properties throughout the county. I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to talk to all of you tonight, and I certainly hope you consider this to be a viable initiative.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from board members first, before I ask Don to respond?
Yeah, I was going to ask Don a question.
Don, could you respond to that, to what our ordinances are? To my understanding is that, like, we can't control or, like, levy different taxes levels.
The Code of Virginia does allow for vacant and/or blighted property tax enactment, but, and I looked at this yesterday, a locality has to qualify. It has to be a qualifying locality in order to enact such a tax, or a blighted tax for sure. Not positive of the vacant part of it. But in order to qualify, the county has to have a fiscal stress index of 100 or greater. Lancaster does not have that. In fact, we have a very low fiscal stress index, so we would not even qualify to enact a blighted property tax ordinance. And as I said, I'm not positive if that same fiscal stress parameter is also applicable to the vacant property tax, but the county would not qualify for the blighted property.
If you could find out for us for the vacant, because I would not be against a tax on vacant properties. I see so many of them, and it's not fair to the neighbors. It's not fair to not just the neighbors, but to the county, because that certainly lowers the property value of everyone in this county. And as far as the gentleman you spoke of that's had the building for 44 years, he's had many offers for it. He's had offers that were ridiculously high offers.
I understand that.
He doesn't want to sell it. He doesn't want to rent it. And I don't know what recourse we have if there's a rental sign out front. We can't force him to rent to anyone.
I have talked to the town manager, I don't know how many times, about that building, and
Condemnation.
it's just not, it looks bad, and when they were, they did this, I call it face uplift on Main Street there. They couldn't get him to participate in that, and
Yes, sir.
it seems just like, their hands are tied, they can't do anything about it.
Well, I mean, of course, if we pass a tax ordinance of some kind, that would have superseding effects within the towns, but if it was some kind of ordinance or code change to our current, like, blighted properties thing, that wouldn't affect the town of Kilmarnock, would it?
No, the town would have to adopt their own ordinance as well.
Similar or similar language.
The town advised me personally to take action by petitioning the court. And I forget the terminology, but I began to take that step, and when I went back to the town to ask for the historical information, because I sat with Marshall Sebra, I think he's zoning, and he was very forthcoming, told me the whole history, and I was very appreciative. And when I learned that I could petition the court just as a private citizen, I was ready to do so. And then I was told that I would be charged $40 to $60 an hour to get information. I just question why the town wouldn't petition the court. I don't know why a private citizen would necessarily have to do it. I
can't answer that question either for you. I mean,
yeah. To be completely frank, I'm.
Have you spoke to the town council?
I brought it up, yes, many times. I've written to them, and nothing has been done. And it's not, look, I'm not just targeting that building. If you stand there and look, you've got, I don't even know the name of it, it's that barbecue place that went out of business many, many years ago.
Smoking
and then
Joe's.
Across the street, the fire, and now those buildings are vacant. It's an embarrassment, if nothing else. We talk about tourism. I read online these nicely written, very eloquent, come to the Chesapeake Bay and see these cute towns, and they talk to Kilmarnock up, and it's almost like fake news. It's like, you got to be kidding me. It's a foodie district, and you go there and the buildings are vacant. It just seems to me that government should be able to do something to affect this in a positive way. I mean, look, if nothing else, financially, we're losing money, right? The county's losing money.
What do we have now for us later? I know I think me and you have this conversation before.
It's actually under the property maintenance code of the building code. And the county has chosen not to enforce the property maintenance code of the building code. So that may be something the board wishes to consider. As I stated earlier, we can certainly do some more research and ask, we can ask for Mr. Guzak's help as far as the vacant property tax goes. But
Well, I mean, the choice with that state thing would be to expand the exemption or get rid of that hardship thing, and that would be a petition to the delegate in the General Assembly. correct?
To get rid of that fiscal stress index?
Or to
Yes.
just open that up to any county that wanted to enact it?
Yeah, that's state code.
Excuse
But-
me.
But
what-
we
what-
can take action now by.
I would suggest that we take action
By
and
enforcing
contact
the-
the delegate to work on that.
Well, I was thinking change to start enforcing the.
Well, that.
What were you getting ready to say?
The property
I'm sorry?
maintenance code.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand what physical stress literally meant. Does that mean the number of vacant buildings versus?
No,
the
fiscal, FISCA.
Oh, fiscal.
Fiscal stress.
I think
index.
it's typically, would sound like it's geared toward communities that are having a hardship of paying for anything anyhow, and so
Yes.
their communities are in decline, and these properties are even worse than they are in such a place here.
It's a
such
very
as-
naive statement in that
like
regard, I will
Southwest
tell
Virginia.
you. Having lived here 4 years and watched the water bill go up 3 of the 4 years, that concerns me. I mean, when's this going to end? I would just like to see a viable, vibrant, cute downtown that serves the community and adds more products and services to, who wouldn't want it?
Yeah, mean,
I guess
think-
if.
I
ask
don't
it-
think you'd find anybody on this board or anywhere that really wouldn't be striving for
Right.
that goal, but at the end of the day, this board's authority stops at the limits of the town, so we can suggest or talk about it at this level, but if the town doesn't see it as important or take action, then there's little this board can actually do to force them to do it.
Is there something I can do as a private citizen to talk to the town next, or, I mean, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to help the county or the town or both.
I mean, I
I
think first,
volunteer.
if we can get some more information on that part of the code that we have or aren't enforcing that strictly or can enforce more strictly, maybe that would help. I don't know if that would that apply into the towns as well?
We do building inspections for the town of Kilmarnock.
And what would, if you enact that code, what would be the penalty?
I don't know the answer to that right now.
Because, I mean, a
We
code
have-
without a penalty is just a piece of
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
We have, I've been concerned about some blighted property for some time. I think, we've talked off and on. And I think we probably need to look into enforcing and find out, okay, we enforcing it, so what's the penalty like?
Yeah.
Like Mr. Bellis was saying.
There's pockets of that all through the county. We've
Yeah.
got some
Yeah.
in Lively, I mean,
Yeah.
that could be, I think we should try to improve that situation.
So, I mean, it sounds like there's kind of like two paths here. There's a local path of something we can work on here locally with our ordinances and see what effect we can have there, what penalty we can enact to improve this problem. The other avenue is the state avenue of where you have blighted tax code, and that would have to be a General Assembly action. So contact Delegate Hugh,
Kent. Delegate Kent.
Delegate Kent, excuse me, and Senator Stewart.
Ryan saying what? And as far as what you can do, we had a gentleman that wanted to change this, wanted us to enforce a noise ordinance. And he came to every meeting that we had, and he spoke at every meeting until we changed until we enforced the sound noise ordinance. And so what I'm saying is that the county meetings are public.
Good.
And I would propose you going to a town council meeting. and
Yep.
Speaking just like you spoke here tonight.
I will. All cards facing up, I've got to tell you this. 2 years I've been asking the town to get the people down the street who don't live in the house and own the house to cut the grass. 2 years. I don't know what it takes.
Well, and I don't understand that because the town has a grass cutting
They
ordinance.
do.
I
Yeah.
thought they did, yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
they do. So I don't understand that.
It's not been done. As late as March 31st, I contacted the town again, and they said they're still looking into it. So I'm ready to do something, and I volunteer 100%.
Yeah, continue beating the drum, continue growing your numbers of other people you can get behind your cause, will all be beneficial. Come back to an actual monthly Board of Supervisors meeting. You'll
I
have
will.
more people here, the press will be here, you'll probably get a story written about it.
I will. I will do that.
I think we're sympathetic to your cause here, we'll do what we can do to push this issue forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm so pleased to hear that you're in my court, so to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Alrighty, moving on, draft discussion of the capital improvement budget. Don?
Mr. Chairman, you've had the capital improvement package before you since, I think, March 13th. The Planning Commission held their public hearing on March 20th. What came out of that public hearing was they moved 2 items. They brought one item into FY26, making it sooner. That was the jail roof replacement. That was initially in FY27. Planning Commission recommended that that be in FY26. I think after the first big 4-inch rain we had, Lieutenant Haywood briefed us on some numerous and worsening leaks that they had over there. So the Planning Commission felt that was needed in FY26 more so than FY27. The other change that they recommended was moving the combined sheriff's office and EMS building from FY26 to FY27, moving it back a year, pending further investigation on the possibility of county offices moving to the current high school, which will be vacated in the summer of 26 next year. If that happens, if county offices move down there, then that would free up space, particularly in this building, that may accommodate the sheriff's office. So that was the Planning Commission's thought, that we needed further investigation on that, so that's why they pushed the combined sheriff's office EMS building to FY27. So we have Lieutenant Haywood here tonight to address the sheriff's office items, and Chief Matt Smith is here for the EMS items. If you all have any questions, they can both tag team the proposed combined sheriff's office and EMS building. And I don't know, is Amanda coming or online?
She was not, no.
Okay, all right,
She had
so,
another appointment.
okay.
She had to be at
okay.
Board members, y'all have any questions? I mean, it seems to me that moving the roof up is a no-brainer. If it's leaking, that's just going to create further maintenance and issues that cost more money, so.
Gotta go get my mouse.
I talked to Don when they were doing the roof on this building, the flat roof up here, and had the contractor come over and take a look at it when he was here with Vertex Roofing. And he took a look at it, and the measures we took when Mr. Sadler was here was the building inspector went up there and put the coating on it, that kind of thing. I want to say it was 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It's been a while. Anyway, the gentleman that came up, Mr. Wilson, he said, yeah, he said, that's about the life expectancy of that. He said, you've probably gotten a little more than what you should. So I asked for recommendation. He said, looks like it's probably had 3 or 4 different things done to it. He said, at this point, to get the drainage properly and those kind of things, he said, I would just take it all off down to where it starts and start over. And this is what he gave me the estimate on that I turned into the capital improvement. And being that I was going to do it next year, but being the problems we've started having, I walked in there, I think it was 2 days before I came over here to present to the Capital Improvement Committee, and we did a jail search, and I thought I was going to have to give everybody umbrellas and galoshes. So, and that was right after that big rain. So that was why we moved it up.
I guess that would have to go out to bid again.
Yeah, that would have to go through the full procurement process, because that, I think it was 180,000.
180,000?
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that a
180.
rubber coating on it?
It was a rubber type coating, yes, that was in 5-gallon buckets that was spread on there.
And so you just have to remove all of that?
And the worst area is, yeah, everything would have to come up that,
likely
whatever
find other
layers are
problems.
under it, because I think several years ago before that, there was whatever they did back then to flat roofs. So it's had Band-Aids and Band-Aids and Band-Aids.
We don't have a choice in it.
Would there be, I mean, I guess this could be done in the procurement process, but could the roof be maybe sloped more or slanted?
I mean, they could look at that, but you've got HVAC units on the roof, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We even looked into putting an A roof on it, but it just wasn't feasible. And Mr. Wilson told me, he said with the improvements with flat roofs now, what they're doing, of course, we have the drains already built in. Once they cut the layers that are on there down now, the drainage would be forced to go to those. It's just built up so much now that it's not just draining towards them, it's just standing there.
How many layers are on there now?
I know of two.
Okay.
What we did and what was done before. Because Ronnie Dotson put one on there back when I was starting off in dispatch. That was like late 90s, early 2000. So I don't know what was done before that.
So was that just a spray on, or was that like a layer?
It was, I don't know what they did back then, but
Okay.
it was a coating or layer, whatever they did back then. I know sometimes they take the roll stuff and roll that out and heat it, put all that together.
Yeah.
It's several different ways.
Well, I certainly appreciate that you're discussing maybe moving the two departments over to the old high school.
Yeah,
we'll
and
see if that's feasible, but I guess there's no talk about the jail. The jail will remain.
Now, the jail, we had a DOC surprise inspection yesterday. He came through, was happy with what he saw. We're updating the lighting, going to all LED lighting. There's some, in this year's budget that the sheriff asked for, we're gonna be redoing some plumbing. Through the years, we've had different plumbers come in and just a bunch of patchwork. Gotten up with Ryan Gordon. He's come in and made some suggestions and good ideas. Ryan seems to have a good crew, and it's hard to get somebody to come over there and work because of the working conditions. And we've got some of the places that we go in, the maintenance passages that are about that wide, and you've got to get in there and try to work on those. And he says that, that's not a problem, that's part of the job, and he'll go in there and do it. So he's been really helpful, but the improvements that we're making with the jail over there, right now, we're doing okay.
Is there a certification process y'all have to go through with the
Yes,
jail?
every 3 years,
Every
we
three.
have to be, yep, they do a complete audit, come in and review all of our files. This happened to be this year, and last year were life, health, and safety issues that they do every year.
Every three.
And your
Okay.
facility is part of that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to have that to maintain the jail license.
So you're saying that the jail, the building, will be around for a long time? That doesn't-
I'm not gonna throw that out there, but right now, I'm gonna say the jail is certainly for another 8 to 10 years.
Okay. I don't mind, I don't want to say I don't mind spending money, because I do mind spending money. But I don't like spending money on something that doesn't have a long life.
Yeah, the main
I've always
issues are
struggled with
the
that.
electrical and plumbing, but we're slowly working on getting those up to par.
I mean, 180,000 on a building, I mean, that has to be done, but it's painful to spend that on a building that may only last 8 years. I mean.
True.
If you had to build a new jail today, I'm sure that's really expensive.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't even
And-
want to throw a
And
number.
controversial where you'd put it.
It's going to be more than the number you have in front of you for the sheriff and EMS building, I can promise you that.
Yeah, it would be.
So, like I said, we're open to any of that as far as the high school or what have you. Just at y'all's recommendation, because we were back and forth with expanding dispatch. Dispatch is our biggest problem right now. We just got, they keep adding stuff in there, and it's like putting 10 pounds of groceries in a 5-pound bag. And the dispatchers are complaining because they don't have the room to work. They're crowded. We've just got monitors wall to wall in there because we have to keep adding stuff. So the dispatch right now is the biggest concern, keeping our ladies happy that do a great job. And at y'all's recommendation, we had thrown out numbers to expand the dispatch. The dispatchers actually want to get out of the jail because they see things in there looking at the monitors that they really don't want to deal with.
So will they not move over to
They,
the,
they want to, we want them to move to the new building.
okay, so if that's the plan, then I don't think we'll be spending a lot of money on their facility right now.
Yeah, exactly, that's what, so with that, and I believe, Mr. Smith, you came up and said, okay, let's start, opening up again of what EMS and a sheriff's office combined would be. So we started and had Guernsey Tingle come down, met with me, Don, Matthew, and it was like, okay, this is what we want, this is what we want. They had suggestions about this. Got to this point. We have not met since we got this price. Talked to Amanda, was trying to get her down here. She's had several things going on, but she did tell me that every year that we waited, you can add about 3 to 4% to this price. Now, of course, we would like to see this part of it move forward as to where, okay, we want to take this can actually be taken away because we built what we wanted. Okay, we want this, we want this, we want this. All right, now what can you actually do away with? So, I mean, do you want the process to continue, us meeting with her at this point, or do we wait because we've stalemated this process several times before?
I thought that, Don, we had discussed that, we were going to explore and get a feel for what can be done at the high schools.
Yeah, that's,
What would it look like?
that has been talked about. The estimate that Guernsey Tingle provided and that the board approved for the combined facility did not include that part of it, looking at the high school. So if that's the direction that the board wants to go, we would have to get Guernsey Tingle to prepare an estimate for, looking at what could go into the high school. And, just a layman's term, I'm not a law enforcement officer. I don't know that it would be logistically feasible to move the sheriff's office to the high school. But if county administration moved to the high school, that would free up a lot of room here that potentially the sheriff's office could take advantage of, in this building as a possibility. And that's something else that Guernsey Tingle would have to look at. In that scenario, EMS would go to the current high school, but that's where that's, as Jeffrey said, we've kind of stagnated on this. Guernsey Tingle brought in an excellent group of experts. That guy that led, that public safety expert who led the discussion was extremely knowledgeable.
Oh, absolutely. I was impressed with him.
I was very impressed with him. So.
Well, I think we need to explore what we can move down to the high school. We're gonna have a lot of building there. Yeah. And if this county administration can move down there, EMS can move down there, and we look at this building, the police can expand, use the whole building.
Yeah, because right now we need to expand and do some different things with our evidence room. It needs, it's got air conditioning in it, but it's not properly ventilated. If we bring in cannabis that's been confiscated, we don't have vents to get that out of there. Half our investigators have to leave the building because it's, we don't want them up there eating Doritos in a 5-pound bag. But, so
How long
it's.
is it required to keep records such as like, you have a required time? Or
Like in the evidence room?
Yeah, they keep that stuff indefinitely
Until the case is over
closed
with.
Or
Yeah,
solved?
yeah. So
Because
it's,
I recently read a story similar to that. It was talking about evidence rooms across the country and how much stuff is being stored at taxpayer expenses that doesn't need to be in there.
yeah, we've actually, we just had the accreditation for the sheriff's office, which that's one of the things that has to be inspected, and they were even given recommendations that we need to do something with it.
Would the voter registrar's office downstairs be a good evidence room?
I don't know. I mean, Sorensen would probably be the one because he takes care of the evidence room, and Lieutenant Obeer would be able to tell you.
So you feel that the sheriff's office needs to stay up here? It'd be difficult to.
I think logistically, it should stay on this compound.
Okay. And Matt, do you feel that you could go, or you should be here as well? Either way? Okay.
Yeah, the sheriff's office being close to the jail and close to the courthouse is very convenient.
We've got a lot of facilities here
It would-
that we need to try to make use of without building any others, in my opinion.
Well,
That's what I'm
it would
looking
make much more sense for county administration and even the board of supervisors to move there and give this complex to basically justice and public safety, because it's already kind of inconvenient for the public to come in here and pay taxes and do whatever. They always get lost in the maze of trying to find where they need to go. And
We have them come
It's
over our place
also-
and want to play taxes.
from a safety standpoint, this building is not very safe for the interaction that people can have with the public these days and times. You can easily walk off the street here with,
And well, that's the same way with the sheriff's office, because, right now, as I've stated before, they come down the hallway and they go right past myself, the sheriff, the major.
and I mean, generally in this day and time, you kind of want like somebody out front greeting people that's kind of
Sure.
sealed off from the rest of the building.
Sure.
That can kind of be a first line of defense.
Yeah, we have had our jail staff start going up front and accepting clothes that are brought in for the inmates and money and those kind of things, so that they don't have to walk down the hall, but
So do you envision that being strictly the jail and this being
Yes.
dispatcher and sheriff's office?
yes. Because we can actually expand the jail at that point, as far as the space that we have and what we're using now.
Can we,
Well, we're still
can we
at what,
explore that then? What that would look like
Yeah, I mean, we can ask Guernsey
Exactly.
Tingle to prepare an estimate.
on that? And then with the intention that Matt and our county employees here would move.
The board has approved several new positions over the past couple of years. We haven't filled them yet, and one of the main reasons is I really don't have any place to put them.
Space, yeah.
And the one that comes to mind is a recreation coordinator. And, with all of the facilities that the new high school brings on board, that's the place for the recreation coordinator's office to be. And so, yeah, I mean, as county administration expands, and we will bring in all these parks online, we're going to need more employees and we're going to need more space for them. So,
Yeah, I mean, I see the high school as quite a bit of potential there for the county and/or
yeah.
business opportunities.
Even, private, public-private partnerships.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
too.
On the flip side, I think it would be hard to get rid of that property, number one. We're probably the best user of it.
I mean, right away, the cafeteria could be a great commissary kitchen opportunity for small businesses that need that. Because that's already an issue in the county. What would be the next steps here then? I mean, we're still, a year or more from the high school
Yeah,
moving there?
it's, everything's on track for the new high school to open in
26.
August of '26, next year. And so summer school next year will be the last time the current high school is used, so.
I mean, it doesn't mean they can't already start looking at it and trying to come together on.
Exactly.
So we're ready at least to make a decision by the time it's time to make it.
Yeah, I think the next step would be for the board to authorize me to ask Guernsey Tingle to, because they're our architect under contract, to look at, the high school, its potential for other county offices, and to also look at this building for its potential expansion of sheriff's office.
I will
Do you need a
make
motion?
that motion.
Yeah,
I'd make
I mean,
it,
I'd like to have a motion for that.
Motion's been made. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any further discussion? Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
I've actually had conversations with Travis Pittman too, about getting Guernsey Tingle up here to do a walkthrough of the high school. And he suggested, after the school year is over, come up probably on a Friday, because during the summer, the school only works 4 days a week.
And I'd also, I mean, we did a lot of, previous architectural studies and renovation studies. If we could find that and pull any of that information, perhaps that would be beneficial to them.
Yeah. So. And Chief Smith is here. I know there's a couple items on the capital improvement budget that he has. If you all have any questions of him, or if maybe he wants to make a statement or a presentation.
Matt, did you have any comments you wanted to make?
Was there any question on either of the two items? Or any immediate questions?
Your two items are the the monitor, the CPR device replacement, and the ambulance.
Yes.
Is
So
the
the-
ambulance being covered by a grant?
Trying,
Okay.
not for certain. It's the same thing. The Virginia Office of EMS is in a disarray and attempting to rebuild, but the outlook on that is still kind of all over the place. And then we also discovered that our regional councils are being forced to merge from 12 to 7. Their budgets are also being reduced from 12 million to 4 million.
We're
So
working on
it's-
getting you a pharmacist with the
I,
free health clinic.
That's what I have been doing all week.
The free health clinic needs a pharmacist, and I said, we need a pharmacist, so maybe we can work together.
It's a lot. It is a lot of
I
work.
thought she had one, or she's looking for one?
She said they've been constantly looking for one.
Oh, I thought she said she had one.
She's got one. She's got one.
She's
but-
got one, right, yeah.
But this kind of
That means you have-
partnership.
that means
this
you
kind
have
of
one.
Partnership can work.
Oh, we haven't done a
Self-taught.
partnership yet. You don't have one yet.
The monitors you have here, could you just give a brief description of what that is?
Yeah, so I've had these a couple of years now, kind of bouncing back and forth because it would have just been essentially repurchasing what we already have. And I knew that there was a new generation coming out. So now that that is out, we moved with that for this fiscal cycle. However, in December, our serviceability contract ended with our current unit. So right now, they're considered unserviceable. So what these are is these devices are the devices that are used for your heart monitoring. They take your blood pressure, check your oxygen level. They're used every day on every patient we see. So they provide your electrical therapy for your cardiac arrest or when your heart doesn't want to act right. This is kind of really essentially our main equipment outside of the ambulance itself. So we currently have what's called the LifePak 15s. It's from a company called Stryker. All of our stuff is Stryker, and now that they've come out with the next generational item, and it meets our 10-year mark to upgrade anyway.
Any other questions for Matt? All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any questions for the ambulance?
I don't think so at this point.
No.
Should we be asking you questions?
If you have them. I try to be detailed as I could in my
I don't know much about
narrative.
those. I've never bought one, so I don't know, really don't know what to ask you. Other than you've done such a good job with grants, so we expect you to get a grant every time you need something. That's the problem with being good at what you do.
It's very difficult with everything going on at the state and regional
I
level
know.
right now.
I know.
So I think they've only recovered 4 million of the 30 million that was embezzled. So. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So gentlemen, all I would ask, are there any other questions on any of the capital improvement items? The school has a couple. The grant funds are only utilized if they get the grant. It's a 25% match, so it's $62,500 would be the match on a $250,000 security grant. School bus replacements, this is a 2-bus year for them. The administration building repairs, last year we spent $168,000 fixing the roof on this building. And we had some water damage, internally, and now we have, this is an estimate to go around and fix all of those things. And 2 county portable AC units, that's something that our building official, Brett Dawson, came up with as a good way to keep county offices open. If something happened with an HVAC system in any of the buildings, they could be mobilized really quickly.
Tell me the freestanding that
It's a freestanding unit with,
yeah.
with like a 6 or 8 inch round.
Yeah.
It's a picture in here.
Yeah, so
I
it,
have a couple of those.
yeah, so he suggested 2 of those, which is $10,918. Social Services Building had a list of repairs, $139,000. If ultimately, what I need to know is, are you all in agreement with the planning commission, the way they have aligned these items so that we can keep with your budget calendar schedule that you approved back in January? That calendar has me advertising the overall county budget next week, and the public hearing being held at your April 24th meeting. So I've got to get the ad to the paper by 5 o'clock on Monday. So the purpose of tonight's meeting would be, I need to get everything in line of what you want to advertise. So, and the capital improvement budget is part of the overall budget. It does not affect the general fund because these monies are usually financed through bonds or other separate loans. But I need to know if you're in agreement with the planning commission, you want to move things around any or remove something.
I think, you know, because this is I haven't seen it before, but I think this is the best arrangement that we can have for this budget. I don't see any need to move anything any further.
The security grant, is that something they apply for every year?
They do, yeah. Some years they get it, some years they don't. Some years they get, you know, not the whole thing, but a portion of it. And so it's a 25% match up to a maximum of a $250,000 grant. So that's why they put 62.5 in
And is
there.
it for like equipment, or is it?
It's anything related to security, you know,
could be
cameras,
personnel.
locks, anything related to security.
Well, Don, I'm going to ask you, you're the daily manager of the county. Do you see anything that we may be missing?
No, I don't. I think the planning commission made good recommendations on the two items that they moved, and you know, my recommendation would be to go with what the planning commission has recommended.
Would, I guess it would fall under public access site construction, but the cameras for the sites.
That would be part of the public access
Sum of
line
money.
item. Yes.
I got a question. You know, we need to get this squared away first, but I do have a question on the camera thing that after we decide if this is all right, you know, it's all right.
Everyone all right with this?
I'm okay with it.
I mean, one question.
Sounds
Don.
legitimate to me.
What's the, 5 years, until 2030, what's changing with the voting equipment, that the big line over there?
They put that line item in there when they need to replace all of the electronic voting equipment.
Okay.
What they do is, like next year, it'll be 27 through 31. It'll probably show up in FY '31.
Okay.
It's
They
just
just
basically a
keep sliding.
placeholder there, just so the board knows at some point,
We'll have it.
you'll have that expense.
Gotcha. Thank
Yep.
you.
Any other questions? All righty.
All right.
All right, now, let me, since it came up, Don, is there any thought of the school and the county and everybody being on the same camera system? 'Cause they already using this company, is it Atlantic something? They always, you know, the school has already got the security agreement with this county. So I'm just wondering, you know, and you're looking into that presentation that we had.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be more beneficial if all of us was on the same thing. You know, the locking system and the camera system, the school and the county, and everybody's on the same.
Is there already one at the high school?
Yeah, they have a system.
Yeah.
And-
That's a
and they-
security system.
From what I can talk, I talked to Travis about it, and they seem to be well pleased with the service they get and the response they get when something go down, and it's working well for them. So I'm saying, okay, why can't everybody be on the same thing? Everybody be on the same system?
Haven't we gotten a contract for the one at Windmill?
Actually has not been signed.
Because this board
But-
approved it. Or
Yeah.
approved to do it.
Approved
Approved to
to
do
file,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually followed through with that at this
Yeah.
point. And that's on me.
So we're talking about, so that's the Google Earth, not the Google Earth, but.
The Earth Cam.
The Earth Cam, but
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Yeah,
something
see,
separate?
it came up with me because the school in the executive meeting started talking about cameras out there on the football field. I said, wait a minute here now. We doing cameras, for Windmill Point. Y'all talking about cameras, outside the school and football field. I said, we need to get on the same page. That's my thought, And then they told me, and this been a couple of weeks, what company they was using. I said, that's different from the company that we looking to do business with.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, can one company serve the whole thing?
I think it probably could. I think what I need to do is get an estimate from the company that the school has on the
Yeah.
contract to compare it to the EarthCam contract that,
'Cause you also gotta kind of like figure out because it sounds like most of theirs probably more
Yeah.
geared toward site security
Well,
specifically.
it's everything, cameras, door locks, and, and all.
Yeah, but we're gonna be more outside, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's
Well-
definitely an outside thing. I mean,
especially on the.
Well,
tri-
the Earth camera is part security, but also part public
Yeah.
interest.
to have be shown on the website and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can ask the question
Yeah.
if the cameras that the schools use have that capability.
Yeah.
And,
Or if that same company provides that service. Just, the school might not have that part of that, might not have that option, but they might,
Well, let's have that discussion so
Yeah.
we can quickly move that camera forward a window because the site's gonna be open
yeah.
relatively soon. Now, I mean, people are gonna be going down there as soon as the weather gets warm, whether the site's open or not.
They're already going down there and walking on the pier. We've had people tell us that already. Fishing from the pier.
are the rails finished?
Fishing on the pier right now with no
The
rails.
rails have not, when I was down there.
But it's
last
not
year.
open yet, right?
It's not open, but people are gonna do.
You're not gonna stop that.
No.
And neither was the Triway Trail, but that's why we opened it up, that's why we're opening it up Saturdays, because you can't keep people off of it.
Was the problem resolved, this week with the surfacing, fixing that part down there?
No, it was not resolved this week. They held off because we got a bunch of rain coming, I think.
I mean, also the discussion with that company needs to also expand broader when we talk about it, because we're gonna need cameras at every one of these sites,
Right.
Yeah,
including the Triway Trail.
yeah.
It's just a safety issue in general, but I mean,
In the
they
convenience
can,
center?
they can also be used for, well, it wouldn't be bad to have one there too when people are dumping out
When
in
they,
front of
when
the
they leave
place.
their trash bags at the gate? We can catch them?
Don, do we need any signs up down there to
What, Jo-
warn people?
John and I were talking about that today to get Scotty to put some type of barrier across the front.
Physical barrier, and now that the railings are going up, some sort of physical barrier might be, they'd have to like go in the water to climb up on the dock. So I think some sort of physical barrier, and we already have signs out there that say temporarily closed due to construction. I put them up myself.
We could
Yeah,
get
They'd
the,
rather report at me and John going down there.
I mean, that ain't gonna keep them off there, but just trying to, if it protects us for liability
Yeah.
purposes. You're not gonna keep them off there.
No.
we could get the tiger beetles to guard it.
Well, I mean, we need to already start having a conversation with Patrick about patrolling down there on the regular.
Yeah, my biggest concern was them carving up their fish on our new deck.
Well, let me ask you something. What's the projected date for having the railings up now?
I don't have an answer to that.
When is
Well, I tell you something, if we could say, the pier's gonna be open May 31st for fishing, and put that out there, I think that would help a lot. People don't, they need to know,
We can try to find that
Yeah,
out.
we can
I
check with
think as soon
Marbury.
as the
and
pier
Scotty George.
is finished and this, everything is
Yeah.
done, I think we need to open that up to the public.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's,
people gonna use the beach, I mean, they
Yeah.
going to the beach.
that's exactly what we did with the Triway Trail. It's like, let's just open it up, use what sections are open, be aware. I was on the radio Thursday and today. Be aware that construction's ongoing, that you may be rerouted, that, safety and all that stuff, just be aware, but we're gonna go ahead and open it up.
Yeah, that's what I think we need to do with the fishing pier down there, just say, okay, here's the date, all that.
When is the contract supposed to be completed by on that base?
I want to say it was sometime April or May, but we've had some weather delays with the dredging. I got a bill today on the dredging. They say they're 20% complete. Well, that's what they're asking to be paid for, 20% of the dredging. So they still got 80% to go.
Weather shouldn't hold up the finishing the pier too much, I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so. I think his problem was materials.
His problem was materials.
Yeah, getting the materials in.
For the
Yeah.
railings.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we can put a physical barrier up.
yeah. But we, you'll do your update on the 24th.
See if by the
Maybe-
24th you can get an update
Yeah,
on
maybe-
where
maybe
that
you could-
contract is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Try to find out some more on the railing material situation.
So, I mean, if the
Well-
tariffs go in on aluminum, the cost could go up too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. One positive thing about what we talking about, people going down there. You know. So the
There's certainly a lot
the
of
word is gonna
excitement.
spread, you
That's
know.
what, ultimately, that's what we want.
That's what we want, so, and, when you got people doing that, they spread the word better than any radio or newspaper, anything like that,
Yeah.
so.
but yeah, I mean, safety and enforcement of the rules is critical to this thing being successful. Because if stuff goes sideways with the neighbors or people down there involved, then it'll give everyone a black eye.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very important that the rules are laid out and then enforced with rigor. Can't
We
have
haven't
people
put
down
any
there.
signs up stating hours or anything like that yet.
Yeah, and then I mean, we have to physically, if somebody violates them, they can get a warning, but the next time if they get caught again, they need to be fined and prosecuted.
Yeah.
I think we gotta have.
It just says closed. It says temporarily closed, under construction.
Yeah.
That's pretty clear.
And then
I think it is.
violators will be prosecuted. So, I mean,
Is that on there? I can't remember.
I mean, I could easily put up a sign that says violators will be prosecuted.
I mean,
Should you-
like I said,
Should you
signs,
check with Jim?
rules without enforcement are just paper.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, I hate to, but
Yeah.
the law sometimes tells you to do crazy things, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's with the dredging and the spoil placement, people need to stay off the beach because you're going to get run over by heavy equipment.
I can see it now. I was laying on the beach and here comes this tractor.
Or I would assume, I mean, we don't know what's coming up from the bottom either. And at some point, you're gonna groom the beach of any glass or debris or,
That's a very good point. When they started doing those breakwaters and pulling up the old breakwaters, there was all kinds of dangerous debris in the sand.
yeah.
My dog picked up a
Kids
piece of
without
it.
shoes on and, yeah.
All right.
Alrighty, moving on to the next item, just the disgust of the general operating budget. Don?
All right, Glenn, can you give me the screen? There you go. I went to get my mouse and for some reason it won't work, so I have to use a little thing on the laptop here. The version of the budget that is online in your packages is the exact same version that was presented on March 13th. Just a couple of things have changed. You all have had 2 meetings where you listened to the county department heads and NGOs describing their request. Couple of, actually, I think 3 things. The first thing is what's on the screen and highlighted in the box. This is the compensation board reimbursement for the constitutional officers and the registrar for the county. When I did that budget on March 13th, I did not have the estimates that the state puts out. I do have those estimates now. I tend to be very conservative on those estimates. You will recall that I used the FY24 and added 3% to it, is what I did. The actual state estimates from the comp board are actually $180,000 more than what I have projected. So I've gone in this column right here and put the state estimates for Commonwealth Attorney, Sheriff's, Commissioner of Revenue, Treasurer, and the Clerk of the Circuit Court. They don't give an estimate for the registrar, so I left that the same. So I did adjust the revenues there, which puts us more on the plus side. One other item that I did under community development, we talked about this as well. The Broadband Authority, has requested $100,300 for the past several years. You see right there in FY24, they actually only spent $32,000. They're trending right now in FY25 through 9 months at $15,000. So I reduced that budget one half. That's reducing it by half is not going to endanger any of their services that they provide. So I made that change as well. The last change I made comes under debt service. We had Davenport and Company here back on March 27th to talk about the options for the additional $15 million school note that you all will need to get this fall. There is no debt service with that $15 million school note in FY26. So the first payment on that, we won't close on that until early November. So the first payment on that will be November of '26, which is FY27. So the $15 million school money, new school money, does not have FY26 debt service. What I have included here, you'll see, is $334,429, which is the debt service estimate that Davenport gave us last month for the $10 million county project note that currently is in the process of a dual track process, seeking estimates from banking institutions as well as going through the Virginia Resource Authority. This $334,429 is actually the estimate for the Virginia Resource Authority. So that will be due in FY26, so I have added that debt service into FY26. So
Don,
that,
quick question about that. Does any of those monies anywhere include these other capital items that were in this list here?
all the capital items, non-school related capital items were included in the,
9 million and something?
yeah, well, no, it was in the, well, that's the new money, the $9,971,000.
Is that, but is that, it says county access sites, but is that also including the sheriff's office roof and all these other items?
It included the $67,000 for Guernsey Tingle for their work that they did so far. It includes on that list that I had of all the projects that are currently in various states of
The
construction.
parks?
Yeah.
But what about these other items, like the security grant, the school bus?
Okay, those items.
Those-
They are typically,
They're going to be funded out of operating funds?
that does happen. But anything related to anything non-school related will come out of the new $10 million note. And anything school related is going to come out of the $15 million note. So once I made, and Mr. Giese and I talked about this last night, the debt service actually drops in FY26, and that's because right here, you can see FY25, this 2020 C bond, debt service in FY25 was $1 million, whereas the debt service in FY26 there is $200,000. That's where the reduction in the debt service is. The reason that's there is because the 2014 bonds that were refunded with that 2020 bond were actually paid off in 25.
Is that why it drops quickly?
That's why it drops.
I was like, it would make sense to almost just pay $1 more million and pay that loan off.
Well, you can't pay these bonds off early.
Okay.
They have a stipulation. You might remember Ted saying last month that for 10 years, there's no refunding or anything like that with those. So, but anyway, I made those three changes, adding in the state estimates for comp board reimbursements, reducing the broadband authority by 1/2, and adding in the debt service for the new $10 million note. And so the synopsis page changes. It went from 6.12% down to 5.81%. I'm talking about that 7% scenario. That 7% of the unassigned fund balance to the total annual expenditures, that a prior board had set a requirement that never to let that percentage drop below 7%. I've talked with Jim Cornwell about this. That stipulation was done by resolution, not by ordinance, so it cannot bind future boards. This board has kind of stuck by that 7%, and it's a good target. I mean, it's a good target to use. But if this board is inclined to advertise and ultimately adopt a budget that has the fund balance less than 7% of annual expenditures, you're certainly okay to do that. As part of this discussion, let me give this copy to you. Each year in January, I do a fiscal year mid-year review. I've actually done a 9-month review for FY25 here that you can see where we're at from all the way through July 1 of 24 through March 31st of this year, last month. And, you can see that we're tracking at collecting 83.12% of our revenues, which, 9 months through the year, you would expect to have collected at least 75%, which we have. We're on track there. And if you go down to the expenditures, you'll see that we have spent 68% of our budgeted expenditures. So we're tracking nicely there. You would expect that you would have not spent any more than 75% of your budgeted expenditures. The reason I point that out is the budget may not drop below 7%, even though it's projected here at 5.81%, if the fund balance at the end of FY25, which gets carried to start FY26, is not as low as what's projected, that $4,815,368. And if our expenditures continue to be below, trend below, then that unassigned fund balance will be more than that $4,815,368. So just throwing that out there to you. Like I said, you do not have to abide by that 7%. I know Mr. Lee made a comment to me in a conversation we had. He said 3 of the board members that are currently on this board, adopted that 7%. So,
Yeah.
so
I'm just trying to get a balance of where we're at in the differential. What are we basically in the red?
if you, and I've got a
$2
copy.
million, is that what it is?
It is, yes, yeah.
one-
That's what this,
Is that what that's saying? We're basically,
That's
our
saying-
budget is basically $2 million in the red.
that's saying the fund balance at the end of FY '26 is going to be $2 million less than at the end of FY '25.
So it means we're borrowing $2 million out of the fund balance to balance the budget.
That's
Another
correct.
way to look at it.
That's correct, yes.
So any way you look at it, we're still negative $2 million,
That's correct. That is correct.
which is about
Now, if.
3 cents per million,
What is the best case scenario
roughly.
for?
Is that about right, Don?
What's that?
3 cents per million?
No, it's not quite 3 cents. It's, 1 penny is $382,261. As I've done in the past, take one of those and pass it down. I have created a synopsis page for you that has the unassigned end-of-year fund balance and the percentage in 1 cent tax increase increments. So you can see what it looks like if at a 56 real estate tax rate, at a 57 cent, 58, 59, and 60. The goal tonight is if there are any additional cuts that you want to talk about, we can certainly have that conversation, but when we leave here tonight, in order to keep track with your budget calendar,
So 2 cents will put us
2 cent will bring you back above 7%.
about above 7%.
Yep.
What it would take.
What is, as far as you, your ability to save money in this budget, and when you know that, when will you know that?
Honestly, not until,
The
actually,
very last,
not until the audit is done for an actual. number.
You could just go off the trend, is kind
Yeah.
of what you kind of got.
You know,
to go off of.
you all will recall that each June I come to you with a list of supplemental appropriations because I've gone through here at that time. I do this every month, but, you know, in June, I'll go through here, I'll see who is going to be over their bottom line budget and, you know, come to you for a supplemental appropriation
But
to
you're
make
saying
those.
it's not unrealistic for you to have a savings of close to 2 million?
Well, all except for this past year. Every year, we have had savings averaging between 1 and 1.5 million.
Okay.
So, since I have been doing the budget.
Well, I mean, it's, as far as cutting goes, there's only one big item that could really be cut that would really amount to any sums of money, and that would be percentages of salary increases, which is somewhat fixed hand because the General Assembly has approved certain
Yeah.
levels for certain employees already.
Yes.
So we're kind of bound to do those.
And if you approve the school budget tonight, then you've approved a 3% for, you know, probably 70% of county employees.
And then if you start digging into that too much or too long, then you run into the other problem of falling behind in that and being a big number to bail it out later down the road.
Yeah.
The one thing looking at this overall, I was looking at yesterday, just the big picture, because I didn't have a lot of time to dig back right now into the details, but the public safety just sticks out. I mean, I know that there are a lot of needs that they have over there, but that's about a 10% increase for the year. That seems heavy to me. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe somebody tell me I'm wrong, but that just seems heavy for this budget to me. And that's just my thought there.
I'm wondering if it's
Bring it up.
bringing it in more in line with actual expenditures, because it seems to me the sheriff and EMS have overspent their budgets fairly considerably year after year.
They do, but, and Matt's still sitting
It's
here.
not a criticism about it,
Yeah.
it's more about trying to figure out what the actual expenses are, so the budget is as close reflective as possible.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to just make it look like it's less and then overspending it in overtime and other things, at the end of the day, we might as well just know it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us.
Well, I mean, in Matt's case, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, he's now 3 full-time people down, correct? And most of his time as chief, you've been 2 full-time people down. And, I mean, you gotta use overtime or part-time, to make that up.
It puts more burden on
So,
him, so
yeah.
I mean, the pressure keeps building on him. and
Yeah,
at some point-
and it's not a lack of trying to fill those positions, it's just that, you know, they're not there. And,
No, you can't fill positions with people that don't want the jobs,
yeah,
because they don't.
Those
yeah.
positions are budgeted. you
they're
know.
budgeted.
So, you know, if you look at saying, okay, you need the positions. So you got to figure out, okay, do we keep budgeting them or do we just take them out the budget?
Well, I think we got to leave him in there, because, I mean, he's, like I said, he's three.
I know you need them.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, it's unfilled positions, yet we budget them for them. So that money is there, but
Yeah.
it's not being spent.
That's right.
It's not being spent, so.
And that contributes to the savings each year.
That's
So,
right.
I did run a budget scenario that eliminated 3 positions. It was 3 positions, new positions that you all had created over the past couple of years that have never been filled. And we will need them in FY '27, but I took them out just to see what the budget would look like. And they were the recreation coordinator, the maintenance assistant, and the 3rd building inspector that we don't need now. And when I ran that scenario, 1 penny would bring you above 7% instead of 2 pennies.
See, because I don't care what you're in, the salaries and things like that immediately affects the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
immediately.
Well,
I don't want to raise taxes.
we're desperately going to need that
That's-
coordinator when we open that park.
Yeah,
I mean, if nothing more for just for part of that security and monitoring.
yeah, well, and again, I right now, I don't know where I'm going to put that person in this building, so.
Back to that fund balance, I wasn't part of the board when that was voted on. Is there a percentage that's mandated by the state?
No.
Okay, so where did we come up with 7%? How did that number come about?
That
A
was.
lot of discussion. Some board members wanted more, some wanted less. So it was
Did
just
we
sort
look
of
at
a,
other counties and that's how we came up with it?
I think we're kind of on our own in that realm. I don't think other counties
Yeah,
have such
it
a
was,
thing.
it was a number that this board came up with
How
themselves.
much do we need to have in the bank to not borrow money? That's more important, I
Wasn't it
think.
tied to that? That's what I thought it was tied to.
Well, Bonnie typically wants to see, now, she wants to see 6 million in the bank. But we have not had to get a revenue anticipation note for several years. And I don't believe we will this year either, because the general fund is constantly being reimbursed from these bonds for all of the, construction that we have going on.
So Bonnie just wants, that's a security blanket for her.
Yeah.
We have to think we're still probably going to make another $1 million worth of interest over the next year at least, probably?
Yeah,
That you're not
that's,
really accounting for, or do you account for that in your budget?
oh, yeah, we account for revenue from the use of money, and it's a big number.
So that's already built into the base revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't find it right now.
Hope you was gonna say no.
Yeah, estimated FY '26 is $675,000. That's from the general fund interest earnings. And for FY '24 it was $687,000, so I'm being a little conservative on that estimate.
Hey, Don, does that 6 million Bonnie's talking about, does that keep her from having to borrow?
It keeps her from, keeps us from doing a revenue anticipation note.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Which, I
If-
mean,
if
during
ne-
the times,
If needed.
If needed.
I
Yeah.
mean, it made sense for us to do that in the times when interest rates were really low and the economy was not that great. And instead of raising taxes, we were able to really borrow money at really cheap while we continued to incrementally build the fund balance back. And we were pretty successful in that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, then COVID hit, we got all the extra money from that, and that really put us over the,
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of raising taxes either.
I'm not either.
So the question is, you're asking what rate do you want to advertise essentially, right?
I'm asking, I've got to advertise a budget. I got to have it to the paper by Monday afternoon, so I need to know what you all want me to advertise.
I would say, I don't think nobody wants to raise taxes, but for its advertising, we want to, you want to advertise something a little bit higher, and then, okay, we have 55, right? So if we advertise 57, we adopt 55.
You can always adopt something lower
Yeah.
than what you advertise, but you cannot adopt anything higher than
Yeah.
what you advertise. So yeah, I mean, you could advertise 57.
Once you put it out there, the people are going to assume it's a tax raise, and they're
Well,
going to get the furor whether you do it or not.
And they won't even know that it's not a raise. They won't even know that we changed it.
Well, the ad will list it because it's required by law. It'll have under there, this budget reflects a real estate tax rate of 57 cents. If that's what you choose to do, it'll have that in there. It's required by law, I can't help it.
See, what I was trying to get around, is us advertising the current rate and then not having any wiggle room at all.
Yeah, I feel,
I understand.
I feel like a couple pennies is probably needed, but that was how I came in here today, looking at the numbers. And I don't like to raise it either, but
Well, what's your pleasure?
Well, we only have two options, raise taxes.
So there's two
or-
members that don't want to raise taxes, really. There's two members that want
where's
to
Mr. Taylor
advertise,
where we need him?
I'm just saying advertise.
that want to advertise higher, but not necessarily enact that, so it's like,
Well, I do have on the agenda, after the adoption of the school budget and consideration of the change orders, it says FY '26 budget work session continuation if needed. So if you want to make that decision,
I don't think we need to do that. We just need to bite the bullet here.
I mean, I
In
can
lieu
bite the
of-
bullet and advertise the 2 cents. I'm not inclined to vote for it.
And
but-
you're doing that, Jason, because you don't want our end of the year balance to,
Yeah, at some point, the fund balance will get too small, and we'll have to
Yeah.
borrow money, and I don't think that's very fiscally responsible necessarily. It did, when interest rates were 1 or 2%, you could get a loan for that and float that instead of using the taxpayers' money, that I think it made sense.
so is 3,000,000,
But-
115, is that too small?
I've seen it less than that
That's what I'm thinking.
in my time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a smart aleck here. Y'all gonna say I'm a smart aleck, but in lieu of raising, we could always look at some expenditure cut.
Well, that was my second thing I was gonna say. We only two options, raise taxes or cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why I would like
Cuts.
when I made the comment about
Gets us to the same point.
the free health clinic, and it's like, eventually you're gonna have to either come up with some fairly big numbers in order to get anywhere, or you're gonna have to start looking at positions and/or salaries. It's the same way with the school, whereas you can't cut your way out of this budget by cutting pencils or paper.
No. And it's hard to
That's
get the
why I
right
thought-
mix.
Well, I thought, Craig, you brought up a good point on the heavy hitters that's in this budget. And it is, our services from the police and the
Yeah.
EMS is the heavy hitters.
And I mean, I don't want to cut the emergency services to where something wouldn't be serviced. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just wondering, do we have a little bit of cushion there that would help us?
No, it sounds like we're gonna have to.
I don't know.
Sounds like we're gonna have to hire a pharmacist before too long, as I stated
That
before, and that's
didn't
gonna
help.
drive up another $150,000 budget
Yeah,
item.
that ain't gonna help it.
Let me show you the one version where I pulled out the 3 positions that I spoke of.
What were those 3 positions again?
The recreation coordinator, maintenance assistant, which I've contracted out a lot of grass cutting, so that's why I haven't needed to fill that position. And the third one was the third building inspector, which we don't need that position. I mean, we've got, 2 very good people in play right there. So this is that scenario.
Well, I mean, I think you could pull out the other 2, but I think by the end of '26, that recreation coordinator is probably gonna be needed at some point. We probably won't need the whole amount of their salary, but some of it.
Well-
Once that park is open, we probably need to have that person kind of in place.
Well, I hope the park is open, Windmill Point Park is open before the end of FY '26 for sure. But I guess my way of thinking was that I need a place to put him or her, and I don't know if that's going to be possible until we can relocate to the high school.
Could they not go where Zena went?
They could.
I mean, it's not ideal, but I
It's,
mean,
exactly, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. We could put, a cubicle or something in there.
So what you got on here now is,
This is where the previous one was 5.81%. Without those 3 positions, it takes it to 6.25, and it's like I told you, with 1%, a 1 penny tax increase, that takes you above 7%. But you're still looking at a 1 penny tax increase to get above that
and if we
7%.
saved the $1 million or the 1.5 million, we'd be well above that, right?
You would be, yeah. So, I mean, if you were okay with advertising and adopting something less than 7%, this is an option.
I
I mean, I'm okay with less than-
6.25%. I mean, I just don't want to do something that you guys are so.
I
feel
mean,
so
I don't
good about.
remember the entire discussion, and I'm not set on that number. I know
Yeah.
there were certain more liberal members that wanted something, a bigger number. There were more conservative members that wanted something more smaller. That's kind of how I felt it was, right?
yeah, and it's all foggy now, I mean,
It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was. And I-
Jason, I'm okay with 6.25 with the intention that next year we'll try to get it back up to 7.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't want to raise taxes,
We
so I'm
had
fine
that-
with the level.
We had that readjustment last year that was tough for everyone to swallow. Even a penny's too much for this year. We could do something in the future, but not
I
this year.
still think you want to advertise at least a little bit higher, I don't think you want to go in and advertise the rate.
Do you do that routinely?
Yeah, typically, we do advertise, 1 or 2 cents or 3 cents higher. And then as Bill said, it gives the
It
board
gives
some
you-
wiggle room
Right.
to, but keep in mind, you can adopt something lower than what you advertise,
higher.
but you cannot adopt higher. So if you adopt level, if you advertise 55, then
We're locked.
you're locked.
So
You're
are you
locked at
thinking
55.
No, I was just thinking 57, that's all I was thinking.
57?
Because my whole thing is, I don't want to raise it at all. So I'm just saying,
And we
okay,
don't plan on
yeah, I'm just saying,
Why not?
hey, let's advertise 57. And if the board, feels comfortable with this, we adopt 55.
Are
And
you
with these
fine?
cuts you've got here.
You want to put that in the
gives us
form of a
some
motion?
It does.
Yeah, I can.
it. Are you okay with
That-
57?
That's 300 and some thousand of cut, right?
Close,
Penny is,
yeah.
what'd you say? How much is a penny?
382,261.
So that gives you some more cushion there. So I would be okay with the two.
Yeah.
Advertising
So
it
do you
anyway.
need a
And I mean-
motion for,
I'm gonna-
no, is a resolution, so you don't need a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion.
No, you don't need to make a motion for this, as long as I know, because you're basically telling me what to advertise, and you're going to hold your public
No, I
hearing.
meant the 6.2, getting below 7.
No, because you can do it 2 ways. Jim Cornwell and I talked about this. You can make a motion to change that 7%, but your action by, ultimately adopting something less than
Changes it.
7% changes it.
All right.
I think just,
It was arbitrary, in my opinion, at that point anyhow, and it's always a moving target, so.
And from what I remember, I remember somebody saying, 7% is not set in stone. It could be changed. It could go up, it could go down. So,
but I think
But yeah.
the board is in agreement. Let's advertise at 57.
at 57, and which version of the budget? Is the version that I have on the
I think
screen?
This one right here.
Okay, which is, it
It's back in
includes,
3 positions, but I think
Yeah.
we can handle that.
yeah, it includes the state estimates for the comp board reimbursements. It includes the LCBA broadband authority reduction. It includes the $334,000 in anticipated debt service for the new $10 million money for the county parks projects, and it removes 3 positions that were created but never filled, and we can bring those back, when the numbers are better. So that's what you have on the screen.
I think it's a good mix because we're cutting a little, we're increasing a little. I think it's as good a compromise as we can probably reach.
And like I said, if we continue our trend on FY '25, that 6.25 may actually be more than 7.
Yeah.
Because where the fund balance ends in FY '25 is where FY '26 begins. So if that number is larger, then the fund balance percentage.
And if we get a grant for that rescue squad, that was what, 385? Yeah, how much was that?
Yeah.
There we go. We have so much faith in you and your ability to write grants.
What's the turnaround on that now, to get one of those? What's that, 8 months?
48 months?
You said 8 months. Can you get anything in 8 months?
It won't even be in this fiscal budget,
You'll need another one.
when we actually had to pay for it.
That'd be a super duper penny.
Wow.
Amazing.
When do we have to actually pay for it?
How the heck can you, pay for something in today's dollars and then expect it to be delivered 4 years from now, when they're building it 4 years from now?
They cut costs along the way.
I guess they charge the next person a bunch more in order to pay for the people that are that they're now having to subsidize because they've taken so long to build them.
It's pretty much bought out all the small companies, so it's only 3
So it's basically like what's happening to everything else. Wall Street money is consolidated to take over everything and then jack the price up.
Like the game Monopoly.
Go to jail, straight to jail.
All righty.
Well, you,
Anything else?
no, you've given me what I need to know to put the ad in the paper next week. It only has to run one time on the budget. And then you'll hold your public hearing at your April 24th meeting. You do not take action at that meeting. State code requires you have to wait at least 7 days. You all have decided in the past and with your budget calendar that instead of scheduling another special meeting, you'll just adopt the budget at your regular May meeting. Now, the tax rates ordinance will not be advertised for public hearing until May because that is by ordinance and it has to be advertised twice. So I don't have the time to advertise that twice for public hearing in April. So the timing works well with the budget calendar that you all have adopted in the past. So that works.
Anything else before we recess?
I think we had some good
We will-
discussion on that.
Recess till 7 PM.
All right. And there is
I will call us back into session. We're up at the 7 PM session for consideration of adoption of the FY '26 public school budget. Don?
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Supervisors held its required public hearing at your March 27th meeting. You have the synopsis of the proposed FY '26 public school budget in your packet. It includes level local funding from the County of Lancaster, which is $14,116,068 under general operating and $120,424 under textbooks. When you take in consideration state, federal, and other funding, there is an overall increase of $533,125. So this is your meeting to take action on the budget with or without modification from the advertised budget, and then decide how you want to appropriate it. Over the past several years, you have appropriated it by lump sum, and it would be effective July 1st of this year.
Gentlemen, we've had the discussion over the budget. Are there any further comments, questions, or points to be made?
I don't have any.
Thank the school board for coming out.
Yep, thank you.
Well, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the school board budget be adopted and that it be appropriated lump sum.
Gentlemen, y'all have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your continued support. We appreciate it. We appreciate the appropriation of lump sum as well. So, thank you all.
Thank you for all you do.
I was tempted to vote against it again this year.
He threw me off there.
We were all shocked.
Next up, consideration of approval of 3 change orders for the expansion of the Calmarta Convenience Center.
Mr. Chairman, at your December meeting, you approved a contract in the original amount of $424,314.86 to J.C. Franklin Incorporated for the expansion of the Kilmarnock Convenience Center site. You have plenty of documentation in your package. As the work progressed, they were removing and found much trash-laden soil in the area of the construction. All of that had to be excavated and removed to get down to good soil to where they could begin fill and compaction that would support the 12 inches of asphalt that will be required for this project. All of that additional soil removal and disposal and the additional fill was not accounted for in the original contract. I have approved administratively 2 small change orders just to keep the project moving forward. The first one was for $5,500. The second one was for $5,000, which entailed the removal and disposal of that trash-laden soil. Now, change order number 3 is before you, which addresses the extra fill that's needed to replace all of that trash-laden soil that they had to be removed. Bay Design Group has been involved with this from the very start. They've gone out several times to the site. They agree with the change orders. They've calculated the fill at, I think it's 1,550 cubic yards. They think it's a good price that the contractor has given us, and change order number 3 is $60,450. So I'm asking you tonight to confirm the 2 change orders that I approved administratively and approve change order number 3 so that this project can keep moving forward.
Y'all heard this? Any questions?
Yeah. Did they identify, the trash and from whom it came from?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Well, digging through old landfills is like a TV show today, so did they find any valuables in there we could maybe auction off?
I'm not aware of that either.
Found the trash.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that either. So,
Archaeological finds, some old bottles?
yeah, I'm not aware of any of that. So,
Any other questions or comments? Do they have a completion date on that work? Do you know when they're hoping to finish it?
There is a completion date in the contract, but I can't remember offhand what it is. It's not, I mean, I think it was like a 6-month turnaround, 180 days, I think, is what it was.
Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
The 60,000 though includes what you already.
Yes, no, 70,000. The total for all 3 change orders is $70,950.
7,950, that's really what we want to approve.
That's, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the change order of $70,950.
And $50.
Gentlemen, y'all have heard the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
All right.
Any other budget-related concerns or discussions? Any other reports? Do we need to just adjourn this, or we recess again?
You can recess to April 24th at 7 o'clock.
We recess to April 24th at 7 o'clock.